What's up, guys? Jay? MorninAfterKill? And ever since I started remastering my Borderlands 2 guides, it's brought up a lot of fond memories from the years past. However, sometimes when we look back on things in life, we look back on them with a little bit of rose-colored glasses. You know, we think to ourselves, man, those were the good old days. I wish things could go back to the way they were. But sadly, in life, you simply can't go back to the way things were. The only thing we can do is look back at photographs and keep those memories alive. However, games are a totally different story because you can always go back to experience these games the way that they were in their original state. Sometimes, doing this, we get treated to a small dose of reality that maybe things weren't as great as they seemed. But you know what? You still made the best of them, you know? And it gives you a little bit more perspective. It helps you appreciate the state of gaming as it stands now. And that's exactly what's happened to me when I was remastering my mission rewards farming guide, and I decided to boot up Borderlands 2 on the Xbox 360 for the first time in years to include a little bit of last-gen love in that mission farming guide. And I found that even though Borderlands 2 started on last-generation consoles, yeah, there's quite a bit of room for improvement. And you know, sometimes remastering games ain't a bad thing at all. So what I wanted to do today was give you a quick look at Borderlands 2 in 3 completely different qualities. The Xbox 360 version, PS4's handsome collection remaster, and of course, Borderlands 2 on the PC in max quality with the blur mask and black outlines removed from the game, just to show you how far we've come in gaming, but also how much further we still have left to go for this generation's console to match a PC's power output. So, as we take a quick run through some of the more iconic and colorful locations in Borderlands 2, we'll be switching back and forth between all 3 different graphical qualities, and I will have on the screen a little bit of a logo, watermark, overlay, whatever you want to call it, indicating exactly which quality that you're viewing in. But immediately, as we're taking a run through Sanctuary here, you'll notice right away that the field of view on the Xbox 360 is set to a very low 70 FOV, just to keep the amount of details on screen to a minimum. Now, remember, the Xbox 360 is running on 500 megabytes of dedicated graphical RAM, which is less power than your average bottom line smartphone these days. That's an impressive feat in its goddamn self. You also notice that the Handsome Collection and the PC version are running at a smooth 60 frames per second at a 110 FOV. Now, while that's a pretty impressive feat for the PS4, the devil shows up in the details when you compare it to the bullet effect and decals with the PC's NVIDIA physics turned on, which adds a little bit of extra ambiance, you know, a little bit of something to the game. Meanwhile, the Xbox 360 version is struggling to keep up the frame rate, even while just shooting without any enemies on the screen. Now, the added graphical quality that you see in-game isn't just eye candy, though. The addition of 60 frames per second, an FOV slider, and more computing power from the PS4 and the PC results in a lot smoother combat experience, as well as more enemies available to fight within a given area at a time, since last generation can't handle the sheer amount of enemies that can spawn inside this game, which not only helps when trying to spawn somebody like Vermivorous, but it can also help when you're trying to farm rare enemy spawns like Tubbies, since, you know, the more enemies that you have involved, the higher probability you have of a rare spawn triggering in the random number generator for one of the slots of other enemies on screen. So, having said that, you know, taking a look back through some of the areas, going over some of the added benefits that these improvements offer in terms of overall gameplay quality and user experience, I think it's safe to say that if Borderlands 2, right, a game that was released in 2012, can benefit this largely from an upgrade from last generation to its next generation remaster, can you imagine how much Borderlands 1, a game that was released in 2009, could benefit from such a remaster for next generation consoles, especially since it would make sense to have the entire original trilogy available on all platforms. It seems like a travesty that Borderlands 1 has just been left behind in the quality that it's been left in. And considering that Borderlands 3 is most likely slated for a 2018 release, as a Borderlands fan, one can only hope that Gearbox will pull the trigger and put a small team to work on remastering Borderlands 1 in its entirety to fill the void in 2017 while we're waiting for the next addition to the franchise. And, well, let's be honest, every company could use a little bit of extra money, right? So, my name is Jay. MorninAfterKill. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. If you could leave a thumbs up on the video, I'd highly appreciate it, because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. But tell me in the comment section down below, have you made the jump from last generation consoles to the next gen? If you have, did you rebuy Borderlands 2 Remastered in the handsome collection, or have you been holding off on it since you played the ever-loving shit out of this game on your consoles and you don't know if it would actually be worth the upgrade? And if you haven't purchased the handsome collection by now, does seeing the difference between the game that you experienced on last generation and the way that it is now remastered on next gen, does it make you want to pull the trigger on the handsome collection and go back and experience the game the way that it was meant to be? And how much shit would you flip if we hear from Gearbox at E3 this year that Borderlands 1 is going to be remastered in 2017? Because I would literally just mind fucking blown. Tell me in the comment section down below. My name's Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to see you guys later.